What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. We are coming to you from one of our most favorite spots that we've had since we've been on the road as far as our campsites go. This is the Army Corps of Engineers campground in Virginia. It's on the John Kerr Reservoir, and the site's outstanding. So the only downside to this site is there's no hookups.
Yeah, for sure.
When we started off on our full-time journey, we picked up a few things before we actually hit the road. We planned on staying at some places that didn't have hookups. We got some solar panels, put a couple of good batteries in the fifth wheel, and we had a little Predator 2000 watt generator, and we figured we would be good to go with all that. But as we found out once we got out west, we actually wanted to start doing some more boondocking and staying at campgrounds that didn't have hookups, because there was a lot of them, a lot more than we realized. And
they're good campgrounds too. They're really nice.
Yep, they're fantastic campgrounds, just no hookups.
Yeah.
So the 2000 watt generator would kind of just run some of the basic stuff, but obviously it wouldn't run our AC. If we were going to stay for a long time at places like that, though, we wanted to be able to run a lot of the stuff that we use kind of on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, like with hookups.
Right. So we decided to get rid of the 2000 watt generator, which had barely been used.
Yeah.
And we opted to upgrade to the Predator 3500 generator. So what I want to show you guys in today's video is kind of our complete boondocking setup that we have, and basically tell you guys how much it's going to cost you if you want a setup similar to this. As with anything when you RV, you can get as fancy and complicated, as expensive as you want.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you can start mounting solar panels on the roof. You can start getting big inverters and big battery banks and lithium batteries. I mean, you know, you could easily spend upwards of $10,000.
Yeah. Over $10,000
on batteries and inverters and solar panels and everything. We did not want to spend that kind of money. So, you know,
because we weren't primarily trying to use this as our main source of camping, but it's always nice to have options.
Show you guys our setup and kind of give you a rundown on what it cost. We didn't output all this expense at one time. Like I said, we picked some of it up before we left.
Yep.
Alright, so we'll start here at the front of the fifth wheel. Obviously the batteries are the most critical part, so I wanted to make sure that we got some really good batteries in here. I had a little bit of an advantage being in the battery industry for so long. I went with the Northstar Pure Lead AGMs. The benefit is these are 105 amp hours a piece. Downside, they're really heavy. They weigh 72 pounds each. So, you know, I couldn't put a lot of batteries up here with having that kind of weight per battery. But as far as being durable, as far as accepting a charge quickly and performing outstanding, they have done extremely well. Had them in here for just about a year now, so they're still going strong. They do great when we do have to boondock. Once we shut everything down in the evening time, I think the longest we've run just on the batteries was about 14 hours without having any kind of solar or generator charge or anything running. And at the end of that 14 hours, they were only down, they still had about 70% capacity. So the trailer itself pulls about 3.5 to 5 amps depending on when the refrigerator fans are kicking on and off. So it did a great job. Super happy with the Northstar Pure Lead AGMs. So now if you're looking for something like this, you're probably not going to find the Northstar brand anymore. Northstar was bought out by Odyssey Battery. So the Odyssey battery, the Northstar battery, same thing, different color case. But as far as the technology of the battery, all brass terminals, so we don't have to worry about any kind of corrosion. We've got brass terminals, and what I used was just some heavy-duty jumpers. So these are jumpers that are used typically on heavy-duty trucks, semis. So you have your jumper, and then in the back you have a lug where you can hook all your cables to. So what you're seeing here are the clamps that I have. I've got the solar panel hooked up now. This is the shunt for the battery monitor inside. We'll show you that in a few minutes. This inverter, picked it up on Amazon. It's been a decent inverter for us. We don't use it a whole lot. I've got it run to one single outlet inside. I will say, if I had to do that over again, I would go with the pure sine wave inverter versus just a standard inverter. It's about an extra $100 to go with a pure sine wave, but I think it would have probably been worth it. We noticed that when we try to charge any laptops or anything using just the inverter, the chargers start to get hot. So I think that inverter is not really efficient enough for charging electronic devices. I kind of knew that up front and didn't figure we would have to charge things very often. So it's done the job. We'll plug a blender in, we'll plug in our electric kettle to heat up some water for coffee or something like that, and it does fine with that. But I think if I had to do it over again, and I probably will look at upgrading this, go with pure sine wave. That way we can use it to charge things, and it'll just do a better job. So for the battery charger that I've got hooked up, I went with a Victron 1225 Blue Smart charger. This charger has Bluetooth capability, so you can get the app on your phone. You can open your Bluetooth app, and it'll show you the state of charge of your battery. It'll show you what mode the charger's in. It's been really, really good. I went with a 25 amp charger. Kind of the rule of thumb is you want about at least 10% of your battery capacity in amps to recharge the batteries. So 200 amp hours worth of batteries would require at least a 20 amp charger to get them topped up and get them fully charged in a reasonable amount of time. So that's a 25 amp charger. It'll top these things up pretty quick once we plug into electricity. So it's been great. I use it in conjunction with the converter that's already on the unit. The Victron charger, though, really gets these batteries topped up and fully charged a lot better and a lot more efficient than just the converter by itself would. So, like I said, it's been about a year, and we've been very, very happy with the performance of that. So, for everything you're looking at in here, you're going to be looking at about $700 for the batteries, $350 a piece, roughly. There's a couple places you can get them from, so you can look online, find deals, but roughly $350 a piece for the batteries, so you're at $700 for the batteries. The inverter was about $200, just shy of $200. The charger is going to be about $150, so you're looking at about $650 for everything that we've got in here. Solar panels. This is the Rengi 200 watt foldable solar panel. So it'll fold up, and it comes with a nice hard cover case to keep it in so it doesn't get damaged. 200 watts of solar in full sun. This thing will put out about 13 amps. So if we're in a spot where we can't run the generator or don't want to run the generator and can get this thing in full sun, 13 amps is enough to go ahead and start recharging those batteries. And it also, what I like about it is it's enough amperage to offset what we're using inside the trailer throughout the day. So, if we have some lights on inside, if we're running our exhaust fan, our vent fan inside, this will offset that draw so that it's not draining the batteries throughout the day. It's actually recharging the batteries and then providing us a little bit of power inside for our 12-volt accessories also. The Rengi solar panel comes with a 20 amp controller, so you can see it's putting in 13 volts right now, 1.3 amps because the batteries are just about fully charged. We've had the generator running for a few hours this morning. Battery's about topped off, so this has got the batteries almost full, and we're not in full sun. I will say one thing about these solar panels. It's important to really try to have these things in direct sunlight. Even just a little shadow from a tree or something. I mean, you can see this thing looks like it's in full sun now, but if I could get this bottom corner of the panel out into the sun more, you would see your amperage go way up. So having a really unobstructed line to the sunlight coming in is pretty important. Thought about mounting panels on the roof, but that, obviously, if you do that and you park in a shady spot or a spot where there's trees, you're not going to be getting anything into your batteries. So for us, it's worked out having the portable panel. That way I can kind of move it around throughout the day. The only downside is if you're not going to be at your fifth wheel, if you're going out to do something or you're going to leave, now you have to leave your portable panel out. The panel's pretty expensive. This panel is going to run you about $400. So, you know, yeah, it's expensive, but it's performed outstanding, and definitely the way to go if you don't want to go mounting things on the top of your RV. And once it folds up, it's only about 3 or 4 inches thick inside the case. Goes right into the basement storage, nice and neat. And being inside that case, you can put chairs and things on top of it, and you're not going to damage the panel. So now as we move on inside, there's where I have my remote on-off switch mounted for the inverter, and there is my battery monitor. So this is a pretty inexpensive battery monitor. We got it on Amazon. It was about $45 on Amazon. You can see I've got it mounted down here low next to the breaker panel. That battery monitor is something that I think everybody should look at investing in. It doesn't have to be a fancy one. Victron makes a very, very nice battery monitor, but I think that thing is like $150 or $200. It's expensive. And it also has Bluetooth capability. This monitor does not have the Bluetooth, but it does give you an accurate voltage reading. It gives you an amperage draw, and it's accurate. I've checked it with an ammeter, so the reading that it's giving you is accurate. Your voltage draw is accurate. Your charging voltage, charging amps. It kind of gives you that whole picture, so that you can just keep an eye on it, and you're not guessing whether your batteries are charged. You're not guessing at how much draw you have. You know, when you run accessories and things like that, because having that information just helps you really take care of your batteries a lot better, and not discharge them too far to the point where it's damaging the batteries, or it's hard to get them recharged because they're discharged so far down. Now we're going to move on to the back to probably, out of all the stuff that we've done, this is probably the best investment that we've made. And that's the Predator 3500 generator. You know, Harbor Freight gets a bad rap for a lot of things, but I will say that this generator has been outstanding. We've got 125 hours on it. So I changed the oil on it when we were back in Florida at just under 100 hours, and this thing has performed absolutely flawlessly. So with this generator, we can run one of our air conditioners. It'll run our microwave. It'll even run the convection oven. We don't do that because it puts such a strain on the generator that it really burns a lot of fuel. So, but it'll run it. Super nice because we can just, we have our adapter. We have our 30 amp plug adapter, goes right in the front of the generator, and we can run almost everything we run on a normal daily basis when we're plugged into power. We can run on the generator. It's very, very quiet. So this generator is back here at the back of our site, and if we go out to the street, you don't even hear it. It's extremely quiet, so you're not going to be disrupting the whole campground running your generator. Typically we'll run it for about 3 hours in the morning, and then usually around 3 or so hours in the evening. In the meantime, we got the solar panel set out, catching some sun to recharge the batteries a little bit, or at least keep them from discharging further. And it's worked out great for us. It is a little bit of work to set everything up at first, but in the grand scheme of things, the amount of money you save by staying at places that don't have hookups or boondocking, all this stuff will more than pay for itself. This generator, we picked it up when we were out in South Dakota. We were looking at staying at a campground that had no hookups. It was a National Forest campground, and it was cheap. It was like $8 a night. It had cell service. It had everything we were looking for. Beautiful view, but no power, no water. So we ran out. I grabbed this generator and we put it to use right away, and it was fantastic. We've used it, well, as you saw, for 125 hours. So it's definitely, if it hasn't paid for itself already, it's got to be getting pretty close by now, because we've stayed at some really cool places, some really nice places that didn't have any power, and you know, it's a non-issue. So the generator at Harbor Freight, normally $7.99. Went online, and like you can do with almost everything at Harbor Freight, you can probably find a coupon, and found a coupon, $100 off, got it for $6.99, so $700 for the generator. So summary, everything, so the batteries, the inverter, the charger, the solar panels, the battery monitor, and the generator, all together is about a $2,200 package. So, you know, I don't know that we've made our $2,200 back yet on all this stuff, but it's things that are going to last for a long time. Batteries, I'm expecting to see around at least 4 years out of those. We take pretty good care of them, so maybe longer, but at least 4 years out of the batteries. The solar panels, there's really nothing that's going to go wrong with those. Worst case scenario, the controller, goes out on it, but if that's the case, you can pick up a new controller and just replace the controller without having to buy solar panels. So that should last for a long time. The generator, with proper maintenance, should last for a long time. I mean, all this stuff is things that you're going to have. We plan on doing a lot of camping. We plan on staying in a lot of places that don't have hookups, just because they're beautiful and we love being out in nature like this. So I feel like over time, this stuff's going to pay for itself. We've already started making some of that money back already in the first year. So that's our setup. That's what works good for us. Like I said, there's no, there's a ton of different ways you can do it. I mean, you could do it if you didn't mind not having any 110 volt electricity. You could actually just get the solar panel, put you a couple good batteries up there, and be on your way. But you wouldn't be able to run any of your 110 volt electrical outlets or anything like that. You have to have an inverter for that. But if you guys have any questions about our setup, feel free to ask. Feel free to leave any questions in the comments below. We'll be happy to answer them. And for now, I think that's going to do it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you guys down the road.